The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 55.
Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Visit our blog at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a special friend on today. She is, a social media consultant specializing in Instagram and Facebook. Actually, she's helped me a lot too. So, I had to bring her out because she has, a story that I think, you can get inspired from, because I've heard her story even before we actually met. And, it just shows that anything is possible, that nothing can get in your way. And, obstacles are just like a little bit of, testing you to see how strong and how far you can go. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Nicole Mazer. She is in Los Angeles, California. And like I said, she's a social media consultant. And Nicole, thanks for coming on. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Sheena. This is pretty awesome. You're actually my very first podcast, so I'm super excited to be here and share with your audiences. Let's have some fun for the next 15, 20 minutes. So to give you a little bit of background on me and how I kind of got started in social media is, I started out as a financial advisor, went to Long Beach State, and I was diagnosed at age 12 with Crohn's disease. And in the last few years or so, I really started having a lot of bad flare-ups. And unfortunately, the bills keep coming in. Those things don't stop just because, life kind of comes in your way or, something happens unexpected. And so I really had to start finding a way to continue to pay my bills, and was naturally gravitated towards social media, and specifically Instagram. So I started there and really found that I loved it, and I loved helping people. And, that's kind of how we met too, was online. And I think it's a great way to meet people as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Nicole. And yeah, we met on the internet, right? And we'd seen each other, at events and stuff. But, a lot of people think you can't make real life relationships on the internet. But, how hard is it to just say, hey, how are you? What's going on? Right?
Right. I completely agree. I've actually met a lot of really incredible people, that even some that I call family now. Some of my friends are, that I met online, are now traveling the world as DJs and musicians and, entrepreneurs like yourself. And I've met a lot of incredible people online.
Yes, for sure. And it's just inspiring just to see them live their life. So, yeah. And Nicole, what's your cultural background?
I'm actually Portuguese and Jewish.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I never even thought of that.
I know most people don't. And I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I do believe that there's, something bigger than us. And, I believe in treating others kindly and with respect and love. And we're all different and unique in our own ways.
For sure. It doesn't matter what you believe in. I always believe kindness is the universal thing.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
So thanks for sharing that. And Nicole, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I actually really like one by Brendan Burchard, and it is, I am not afraid, I am excited to see how far I can be pushed and how much I can grow. When enthusiasm for growth overpowers our fears, we find joy and power once more.
I love that. That's a really powerful quote, right? For some people, fear stops them from doing things. For entrepreneurs, fear fuels them to take action in their lives. So, thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I would define self-confidence as really being 100% happy with yourself and who you are and what you're doing. And a lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, there's people that have our best interest, but might say, hey, this isn't good for you, or go do this, or go do that. Or, you always hear things from the outside world or the media and, fashion, and, you have to look a certain way. And I think self-confidence ultimately comes from, regardless of what's on the outside, you feel completely confident and happy with what's on the inside.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, I totally understand when you mean people from outside, they tell you to do something different. And it's not like they're telling you this out of, they think what you're doing is bad, but they're afraid of the unknown, right? And, especially like when you're, like for me, parents, right? My parents are always worried that, what I'm doing might not be the path that I should be going to, but only because they don't know any better, right? And they only do that out of good intentions because they care about me, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's probably with most parents, right?
Yes.
They get worried. They get worried.
My mom is number one at that. She supports me 100%, whatever I want to do. But at the same time, she's a nurse practitioner. So nursing and business are two totally different things, two totally different, ball games completely. And, a lot of times it's, oh, you can't do that or you shouldn't do this. And even though she's supportive, it can still come off as, that's not what she thinks I should be doing,
Yeah.
Like, go the more traditional route. And, this is how you're supposed to do it. And, go get a regular 9 to 5 and, go to college first and this. And I went to college and I did all those things that I was supposed to do, but I feel like you're never really happy doing what you should be doing just because someone else wants you to or because you think that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I totally agree, right? And sometimes, maybe like our parents, they don't know any better either, right? Because they were raised the same way. So, especially to the people out there who are listening, maybe you were the same way because you didn't know any better. But now that you're more aware, right, you have that opportunity to change things. And it's not a walk in the park, obviously, right? But it's worth it. It's worth fighting for because not too many people are going out there fighting for what they believe in. So thanks for sharing that, Nicole.
Absolutely. And sometimes it just has to do with, like being confident, just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this anyways, and I'm going to try and, give it your best shot and stick to it. Because, regardless of what you do, if you stick to it, you'll get the results.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people don't stick to things, right? And that's the reason why they're stuck at where they're at. So Nicole, what was your life like before the discovery of self-confidence?
That's an interesting question because I think we all, in some aspects, can be confident one day and then, the next be like, second guess ourselves. And I think, when you're second guessing yourself, it's really hard to move forward. And so for me, when you really, I guess, discover self-confidence, it's knowing that I don't have to have a certain person around me, or I don't have to be with a certain circle of friends to be confident in myself. And sometimes it's, what's the word? I'm not sure the word, but it's like you don't want to doubt yourself. And sometimes being around certain people can make you doubt yourself. So when I really started to become self-confident, it's like you free yourself of, negative thoughts and negative habits and, not being self-confident. So you're almost like free in your mind, if that makes sense. So you can be more happy and enjoy things a lot more.
Yeah, totally, right? I mean, they say you're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. So when you hang around with people who are negative, it can really be toxic.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you start thinking like them. You start having the same thoughts. And it's really important that you surround yourselves with positive people, right? It could be listening to this podcast. It could be getting to know me and Nicole or, listening to a good audio, right? It's truly important because, when you surround yourself with negative people, right, then it's like you start to think, oh, maybe you start to lose a sense of yourself and you end up being stuck too. So, what was when was that realization when you were free from like what other people thought of you?
I think it's a comfort within yourself where you're not being as judgmental on yourself and what you're doing and say, you know what, regardless of what anyone says or what they do or what path they feel is right for them, I still need to focus on Nicole and, do me. And I think a lot of it sometimes goes back to breaking bad habits, like mental habits or things that you've been taught growing up your whole life or things that, maybe you were around a group of women that was always like nitpicking or being judgmental. And when you finally separate yourself from that, you really, it's a good feeling inside.
Yeah, totally. Especially, when you're working in a cubicle, sometimes they say the women can get catty. I mean, that can get pretty toxic. So it's great that you can find, women's group out there, especially the ones that me and Nicole were in. We're still in, this all women's group, but it's really supporting each other, right? Supporting each other no matter what happens, doesn't matter what business, doesn't matter what sexual orientation or background. We all just treat each other like we're family. And that's how it should be, right? Because as women, we should lift each other up, not put each other down. So, thanks for sharing that, Nicole. And,
absolutely.
After that realization, what's your life like now?
Life is good. I mentioned in the beginning that I was diagnosed with Crohn's at a very young age, and just last year I decided to have surgery. And it was a really tough decision because you never know, like, major surgeries, so, something could go wrong. I might have to have surgery again in a few years. So since my surgery, and, I think when you're gonna do something like that, you kind of realize, like, okay, who do I really want in my life? And, like you said, separating yourself from maybe negative people or people that aren't really bringing you as much value as they should. And, since my surgery, everything has been absolutely incredible. I've been traveling a lot more. The friendships I've been making have been incredible and are that much more valuable to me, because you realize, like, okay, this is really where I want to be, and these are the things that bring value to me. So life has been incredible. Can't complain. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Things will go wrong when you least expect it, but you have to keep pushing and moving forward, and take advantage of every opportunity that's in front of you. Don't be fearful of those opportunities or things that may be different or outside of your comfort zone. So as far as my life, whether things are bad or good, I try and make the most of it, and I love my life.
Thank you. Yeah, no matter what happens in life, we're always going to go through hurdles and tests and obstacles. And I always think they're just a test of your character to see how strong you are and how strong you can overcome them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they're a blessing. I see them sometimes as a blessing because it helps me become the person that I need to be. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your story, she's in her own journey of self-confidence, right? She's listening to the episode. She's inspired to take action in her own life. And what would be that one tip you would give to her in her journey to self-confidence?
I would say the biggest advice I can give is to love yourself first. You have to love yourself, and to really surround yourself with people who have the same, visions and values that you do. People that are gonna uplift you, and people that are on the same path that you want to take, and people that, treat others good, right? Because, even if someone treats you good but aren't treating others good, I think it can really still hold, that negative energy. And so I think the biggest advice I guess I could give is to really surround yourself with people that uplift you and make you want to be a better person.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing those tips. And it's true, right? Who you surround yourself with is so important. It's so important. And some people just don't realize that. So I hope whoever's listening, you got to start, thinking, are the people in my life lifting me up or bringing me down? And if they're bringing you down, I'm not saying drop them, right? But you need to kind of lessen down the time. Right?
Yeah, you can either cultivate the relationship and see if it's going to be better, or you can say, you know what, this isn't bringing value, maybe I need to distance myself.
Yeah.
Not, be rude or mean to anybody.
Yeah, because there's some people we can't say no to, like family, right? You can't say
I've cut off some family members, not completely, but that's part of the growth and development, though, that I feel that I've ultimately went through, because there's some, maybe when I was younger I was like, oh, I have to be around this person because they're family or because of this or that, and I've really came to the realization that if you're really not adding value to my life, I don't necessarily need to, say screw you and kick rocks, but I can distance myself from that energy.
Yeah, for sure. You can lessen down the time, right? So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And Nicole, if the listeners want to get to know a little bit more about you and your services, especially Instagram and Facebook, where can we connect with you?
Couple places. You can connect me on Facebook, Nicole Mazer, and Instagram, Nicole Mazer. My handles for both of those are, I think most of my social media sites is at Mazer10, Mazer10. And also, I have a free gift for all your listeners. I always try and see what I can give back. And, since it's kind of like a mini party, I want to bring a gift. And so you can get the gift at mazersgift.com, MazersGift.com. So it's Mazer's Gift.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm sure the listeners would love to get a hold of that. So if you want to get to know Nicole and her services and also get that cool gift, just head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Nicole's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Nicole for taking the time to share her story and share her tips on self-confidence. So, Nicole, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate being here. Excited to have, shared with you and your audience. And I'm looking forward to hearing a lot more of your podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And to the listeners out there, be on the lookout for another new episode of another woman's amazing journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Thanks, Sheena.
Thank you for joining us on the Tao of Self-Confidence. Visit thetaoofselfconfidence.com for links to everything we chatted about today, as well as killer resources, gifts, and so much more. Start your inner journey to self-confidence today.